I just want to start out by saying that I don't think there is a bigger scam out there in the hunting or whitetail industry than scent control, by far. What's up, everybody? Cody DeQuisto here, and welcome back to the Dying Breed Bowhunter YouTube page. I'm stoked to be here. I'm excited about this video. It's the first one in a new series that I got planned for this fall. It's called Gear and Grit. So every week, I am going to pick a different topic and just do a complete both barrels deep dive on that and only that. And we just kind of see where it goes. For those of you who may know me or listen to the content that I've put out in the past, or I tend to be on a lot of podcasts, and I'm a bit of a pinball and I ramble. But in the podcasts, I'm always sort of pulled in different directions. So I'm excited to have just laser focus on specific topics and get some content out for you guys. Over the years, one of my favorite things working in the hunting industry and is just connecting with people, man, and talking about specific point of views and tactics, and whether that be at shows, in field, at the events we put on every summer, or even through direct messages. I'm really stoked to dive into this series because it's going to give me the opportunity to really answer a lot of these questions I get from customers or followers, and I'm really stoked about it because I'm a guy who's always fine-tuning and changing up my system. And at the same time, over the years, I've really done a good job of testing out a lot of different theories. And if there's one thing about me, I really give something a fair shot before I rule it out or before I decide to go a different way. So I pride myself in being able to be an open book and kind of take little bits and pieces from anywhere that I see an advantage or could potentially become more efficient in my system. And I just compound on that year after year. So anyway, I'm excited to dive into this first video. Today, we're going to cover scent control. So over the years, I would say some of the most frequently asked questions I get are all revolving around scent control in some manner. A lot of them are, hey, what is your specific scent control regimen? What are your takes on scent control? And I will get into those specific things later in the video, but I just want to start out by saying that I don't think there is a bigger scam out there in the hunting or whitetail industry than scent control, by far. The products out there, the marketing behind it, I think is all a bunch of bullshit. And I see it all the time on social media and hunters or brands and all this just BS about scent control, and it kind of makes me laugh. Now, I can say that coming from being somebody who kind of drank the Kool-Aid for a while, and I'll get deeper into that, but when around every corner you see some sort of product that is selling you the false security that you're going to eliminate your human odor, there's blenders. People are selling blenders so you can blend things up and cover your human scent. There's clothing that claim to be, we all know the whole scent lock deal. Let's put carbon in our clothing and it'll eliminate our human scent. Let's take an ozone machine out into the tree and it's just gonna make us invincible and we can hunt the wrong wind. Nose jammer. Let's spray a bunch of this stuff and it clogs the deer's nostrils. Oh my God. There was even, I don't know if they still sell it, I've even seen chewing gum that is supposed to eliminate your breath scent, and you're supposed to buy it and chew it in the trees. It just, I don't know, it makes me laugh. But, no dig on anybody that is using any of this stuff because they market it very good. And as hunters, our goal is to beat the deer's nose, right? And we're trying to be as scent-free as possible. So when somebody tells us that we can buy this bottle of spray and just spray our clothes down and spray our boots and we'll get away with something more, or we'll be more invincible, it sounds damn good because we want to hedge our bets, right? I was once that guy. I bought into all of it. I had the scent spray. I had, I had the special detergent. I had my regimen that I went through that was completely over the top. And I did that for a lot of years when I was a young kid until I realized that it was a bunch of bullshit. The more I learned about whitetail and the more I learned about hunting, it became more apparent to me that I was spending my time in the wrong area. Now, if there's one thing you'll learn about me or you may know about me is I am 100% efficiency focused, right? Everything I look at as far as my routine goes in hunting is how can I be as efficient as humanly possible. It's one of the reasons I don't hunt that high. Everything from my filming gear to my stand setup to my bow and everything I do, right? And as I started breaking down my system, I realized that scent control was just a big part that a lot of time was spent. And so one thing I've always done pretty good is ask a lot of questions to myself. My current way I'm doing things in that efficiency realm is like, okay, well, what can I cut out? How can I do this better? How can I get more, more stealthy? And really this was just based on a mission to make it through an entire season without getting burnt out. As a kid, like I started hunting pretty hard, and I looked at the season as a marathon, and it is. I mean, if you're a bow hunter who's actively hunting the entire bow season, and even if you got trips planned or whatever, and especially if you're somebody who's going out before and after work, and it's not like a 1 week a year vacation thing, the more efficient I could be, the longer I could go without getting burnt out and hit it as hard as I possibly could. I'm a guy who's always asking a lot of questions too, so I started to test a lot of theories. As a young kid, at 16 years old, I'm spraying my boots down, walking across an entry trail, seeing how the deer react. I'm using all these things. I'm always testing things, right? And I'm asking questions, and I think that's really important in anything you're doing, right? So, and I'd start to notice some holes in there, and when I'd get busted, when I wouldn't, and fast forward to now, I take this very simple approach, and this is my thought. This is my take on it, 100%. You will not beat a deer's nose. I don't care what you do. You will not beat it. There is no bullshit outfit you can buy with carbon in it. There is no bullshit machine you can put on your tree that will completely eliminate your scent. It's just not going to happen. So instead of wasting your time and money in these products or these rituals, I met a guy who would bury his clothes. He would literally bury it. He would wash them in all the special things, and he would put them in totes and bury them when the season wasn't, and dig them back up, and he would never step foot in his house. And this is very common. Like there's people who have clothes that do not go anywhere but in the woods. And okay, I mean, like it is what it is. Like this is, and I can go into all these rabbit holes, and don't get me wrong, it's good to not get your clothes completely polluted. But what I'm getting at is, over the years, I talked to people with such elaborate systems and such elaborate regimens that I'm just like, oh my God, like what, like how do you have the time to do all this? Or like, why, like, and to me, it just seemed like nonsense. And especially ever since I had the realization that we're not going to beat their nose. So what do you have to do? You have to figure out a way they can't smell you. How do you do this? You play the wind. You learn the thermals. You start paying more attention to your access routes. Like, these are the things, these are the woodsmanship values that will get you deer on the ground, not an outfit, not a machine, not another gadget, not chewing gum. Like, it's, I'm a proponent of making things as simple as they can be and taking it back to the beginning. Let's use red crayon with this. It's like, let's think simply. I think a big turning point for me is I watched, I don't know where I seen this. I read it or I watched a program somewhere, and it was about, it was about animals' sense of smell, and they had some biologists or some scientists or whatever. There's some people on there talking about whitetails and bears, and they started talking about scent, and they started talking. I mean, I think it even got into tracking dogs and stuff, and which I'll dive into because I have a buddy who trains tracking dogs for the police, and that's a really good bit of info. But this program, they started talking about bears. They started talking about bears, and they started talking about their capability of smelling, and it got into the weeds so much that they said that these bears could smell something 4 to 5 days later, and not only smell it, but they could age it at 4 to 5 days. And they could actually tell time by the potency of the smell. And I'm just like, okay, like conceptualize that for a second. Then they start talking about these tracking dogs, and they make a good reference, and I use this a lot at the shows that I do now, but, you know, and this is a great example, but they said, think of this. We as humans, you know, we walk into a house, let's say, you know, there's a stew cooking on the stove. We smell a stew. Oh, that smells good. We smell some random spices. The dog smells the carrots, the potatoes, the cream of onion soup. They smell the onions. Like, they smell the ingredients of the stew. So I'm just like, holy shit. I'm like, okay. And the crazy thing is we don't actually know. I mean, we know from studies like this, and we can. There's been tests where they've proved this, and they've proved this sense of smell. But like, as far as whitetail goes, like, we don't really know how deep it is, but I know it's deep. And I remember, as soon as I heard that stuff, as soon as I even processed that in my head, I was like, this scent control stuff is bullshit. Like, there's no way, you know. And so I can vividly remember the turning point of me hunting, and from when I was obsessed about my scent to when I threw it all out of the window. And you want to know what the crazy thing is I started killing more deer more consistently than I ever have before. And it was based off of getting my time back and not messing around with senseless stuff. And the danger with a lot of this scent control stuff and like these magic products is it gives us a false sense of security. And you know, I hear it all the time. We're like, oh yeah, I got this spot picked out. It's great. You know, I got a marginal win though, so I'm really gonna spray down and I'm gonna bring my ozonics and I'm like, and that's what it does. It gets you taking risks you shouldn't, for one. And, you know, I'm all for being confident in your gear. And I believe in the placebo effect. And I believe that if you feel like you're more rock solid with your scent regimen, okay, keep it. But when it starts to affect the decisions you're making and you start to teeter the line of making bad decisions based off of your scent control stuff that's going to help you out, I think you're going to lose every time. And I know there's probably a bunch of people out there, you know, watching this, or they might, you know, have the argument, oh, well, you know, it works. It worked for me. I shot a buck downwind. You know, I do this, and I believe you. I believe you 100%. And this is my take on that. My take is that actually 90, probably 5% of the time we kill bucks as hunters, right? They've smelled us. It's not that they don't smell us. It's that they've made the conscious decision that the smell they're smelling is, or the juice is worth the squeeze, if you will, right? They're still going to investigate on the path that they're going. They're still going to take the trail, even based off of that little bit of scent they get. And I firmly believe that. Like, I'm also a proponent in talking about getting busted. Like, there's so many guys out there who say they don't get busted. And I think that's such bullshit. And it's such a lead on. So I say it all the time. Like, I get busted all the time. And I get busted even when I don't know it. And I think we all have to realize that, and we have to accept that. And the sooner you accept that you're getting busted all the time, you cannot beat their nose, and you need to focus, you need to put that time into being very strategic in your setups and playing the wind to a T and understanding what the thermals are going to do and where your scent is going to end up. If you become a master at knowing where your scent is going to end up, nothing will hold you back. And you can smell like complete garbage. And I know I'm going off on tangents, and that's how these are going to be. So I hope you can follow. But I can think of so many examples. Man, I had one of the cleanest kills, a really big deer. And I remember being out of state, hunting my ass off for like 5 to 6 days, haven't showered, camping out, completely just, it was hot, whatever, stinking like BO, whatever. I remember checking my weather app and seeing that I had this wind for a spot I scouted out back home in Iowa. And I remember thinking, I remember looking at the clock, and I'm like, ooh, if I book it back, I can hit the stand. I got this bulletproof wind. My access was up this little ridge here that like was so tight, and I'd slip up and I'd creep in there. And there was this little peninsula on the edge of a CRP field where this little primary scrape was, and I had a stiff north wind, and I was like, ooh, this is perfect, right? So on the way out of town, I got a pizza from the gas station, was crushing pizza the whole way, spilled it on my lap, I chewed back then, I had some Copenhagen in my lip, whatever. I get there just in time, I bust that, literally reeking to high hell, but I didn't care. Like I was so confident in my access, and I had 3 or 4 deer kind of come through before the one I shot. Not a deer knew I was there. Why? Because I had a very good understanding of where my scent went. I killed that buck at prime time on that scrape, just like intended, and I smelled horrible. These things happen all the time. You hear, stories about these old timers who are just chain smoking cigarettes, and they're, some can be lucky, but some got their shit dialed. And I think it's more important to just be very, very tentative in what you're doing, right? It's not the clothes. So here's the thing. Back to what I was talking about all deer smelling us. So this is a good point, right? And you have to think of it like this. The deer catch the scent, right? Whether that's, your scent from in a tree or whether it's your ground scent. Every time they smell something that piques their interest, they go through an internal decision-making process of what that scent is. Whether they're telling the timer, and I'm going to have to extend this, whether they're telling time by smelling that, or they are, deciphering whether they think this scent is danger or not, right? So every time they smell, they compute that, right? And this is where I start to think that we're getting smelled more often than not. And if you think about when the majority of deer are harvested, or let's just wind that back here, and let's take a given season, right? Let's take a given hunting season. I'd probably say 70% of your hunters are more rut hunters and more focused on that November, and probably the majority of your harvests come from that time. You got to realize, if you take the season on a timeline, what you can get away with as far as scent and movement in anything, it's like this graph, right? It just goes from little to big to little, right? Like, so this is early season. You're not going to get away with much. As you start to creep up, let's say this is November 15th, right? Or 13th, as being like the peak, you'll get away with more and more and more. These bucks they're thinking with a different brain at that time. Breeding, fighting, like territory, like that's on their mind. They don't have their wits about them. So all these people, I hear all the time, oh yeah, well, I killed that buck downwind at 15 yards and, had my scent spray on and whatever. Oh, when was that? Oh yeah, it was November 9th. He was drooling and you didn't beat his nose. The scent spray didn't work. He just didn't care. he was chasing does, or maybe, he got a whiff and decided, I don't give a shit. I'm still, that doe went through here. I care more about that doe than some random, scent of a leather boot, right? For God forbid we wear leather boots. We got to wear rubber boots, and we got to wear gloves. Everything we touch, we got to have rubber gloves on, and we got to back step out of here, and we got to swim through the water to get to our spots. Like, you guys are overcomplicating this, and you don't have to do that. Here's a good rule of thumb: leave as little scent behind as you can. Right? That's a really good rule of thumb. Have your clothes as scent-free as you can. I mean, you don't want to go out there smelling like complete diesel fuel or the old lady's perfume. Like, okay, we don't have to go that crazy, but you also don't have to completely hose your stuff down with special detergents, and you just don't have to do any crazy, you don't have to do some sort of dance and praying to the gods and whatever. It's crazy. I might be going a little overboard here. But now, I know what you're going to say. I know what some of you are saying. Well, if there, the decision-making process, and if there is a chance that you could do something with your scent to lengthen that decision-making process, to ultimately get an arrow in a deer, like, wouldn't it be worth it? And I would say, like, you have a point there. So, for instance, let's take the ozone machines, for instance, Now, by the way, you couldn't pay me to haul an ozone machine out there and set it up every time I hung a stand. And I just, to me, it's crazy. And it's just more, anyway, I'll get into that. So, for instance, let's say you do that. Let's say you take it out there, you get this situation where you got the ozone pointing where you're, I will add to this, ozone does work. I mean, it's been proven it does kill scent molecules. The catch, though, is that's not going to happen outside of a vacuum. You're not going to go outside and be able to set that thing on and expect it to eliminate all your scent. And that's, I think, what a lot of people perceive will happen. It won't. It's going to kill some, but like the odds of that eliminating your scent are crazy. So anyway, let's go back to that scenario. So you got a buck coming in, and you got this ozone. He's pointing right down. He's coming downwind. You got this thing showering your scent with ozone, and let's say it lets that buck get 10 yards closer, and this is best case scenario, and like, let's say, this is early season, no rut activity, and he knows something up, and he's about to bug out, but you got him shot, right? You could say that, hey, I shot this buck because of that ozone machine, and I would say, okay, yeah, I believe that, 100%. He busted you, you got him killed before the jig was up, and yeah, that ozone machine got you that kill. Okay, well, Cody, wouldn't you use it then if it could get you a kill? Absolutely not. No, I want to go back to like my efficiency statement. I don't want another gadget to worry about to run out of batteries. I don't want to have to hedge my bets on anything. And I damn sure don't want to take something as just a safety precaution to mount on the tree just in case I was wrong in my setup and something comes up behind me. To me, that juice is not worth the squeeze. I don't want to haul it out there. I don't want the extra headache. I already got so much I'm thinking about. I want my shit dialed. I want to be laser focused. So there is a case for if you're one of those guys who doesn't mind putting in the work and like you want to carry these things out there and you want to have you want to blend up a bunch of tree branches and soak your clothes in them. That's another thing. Cover sense. So let's go back now. We're talking about an animal that can smell the different ingredients in a stew that is cooking. But you think you're going to walk in cow shit and be fucking invincible in your tree stand. No, they're going to smell cow shit and they're going to smell you. just like they're going to smell that cover scent and they're going to smell you. And this is the craziest thing too, is like, because I don't know, and I'm one of those people that like, I need it to make sense in my head for me to really buy into it and for me to really be convinced. And because I don't know, and there's no way of knowing how they perceive our scent, they could very well smell a human scent or clothes or a clean body odor more potently than they could an oily, you know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense to you? So in my mind, I think about it like this. I think, okay, your body excretes natural oils. Let's say you're hunting for a couple days. You're a little greasy. Like you might, you might smell a little funk on yourself. But how do we know that that smell isn't like less invasive to their nostril than a clean bar of soap? Or like, shit, I don't have that good of nose, and I can smell scent elimination spray from fucking 15 yards away. What does that mean? I don't like, how do we know that shit doesn't red flag them? You know? And so just not even knowing that and not even understanding, I'm just like, well, why? It doesn't even make it like, so why even mess with it? And all right, so I'm running out of time here, and I could literally ramble about this for another, and I hope I hit all my points here. But let me see here. I want to get into my specific routine, and I wanted to get into scent on the ground versus scent in the air too. Let's see here. Okay, anyway, we can dive into this more I'm running out of time, and I want to get into my specific routine, right? So here's where I think your lifeline should be, right? And again, these are my theories. This is what has helped me throughout the years. This is, hey, if you want to take it, take it. If you want to, leave it, whatever. But I'm telling you, the more energy and focus you can put into hunting and scouting and woodsmanship and not worrying about scent is going to help you out in the long run. So this is what these are my lifelines. You cannot beat fresh air and the sun, right? So I am a big proponent of letting my clothes air out. I hardly wash my clothes. I know you guys are dying. Hey, what kind of scent-free soap do you use? What kind of deodorant do you use? Whatever. I don't use scent-free soap. I actually use a soap that is called sandalwood and citrus. Yes, that is true. Years ago, when I just kicked everything scent control, I stopped caring. I have wore beard oil for the past 20 years, and it's a heavy cedar scent, sometimes patchouli, like whatever. I put beard oil in on a daily basis. I use a lot of essential oils in my hair, and yeah, that's what I put on my body. I have not sprayed my clothes with a scent-free bottle or misting spray in 15 years, I bet. Like I just don't use it. What I do is I air my clothes out. I hardly wash them. Now, I love wool. This is another thing too. So this is another good proponent of like your clothes, right? My base layers, my socks, they're alpaca wool and merino wool. They do a really good job of not holding on to odor, and you don't even need to wash them. You put them out in the fresh air and they are good as new. And that's one thing about fresh air and sunlight. Like, a lot of people don't know this, but the sun, the UV rays, they kill bacteria. It's like the sun will just nuke all that stuff. So laying your clothes out for an afternoon, I mean, I think, you need about 4 or 5 hours, but let's say you got a nice sunny day, bluebird day, lay those clothes out, let them get that sunlight, let them get fresh air. You don't need to wash them. You don't need to worry about your scent, just whatever. That's my regimen. Just think of elk hunters out there, right? How come scent control is not a big thing with them? It's because they're out there on an adventure. They're camping for fucking 10 days. They're roughing it. They stink like shit. Well, why are they killing bulls? Because they're playing the wind. They know what they're doing. They're using their mind, and they're hunting proficiently. That's what you need to do for whitetails. And we might have to revisit the entrance routes. And I was going to go into leaving scent on the ground, right? And there's another thing as far as scent control that sort of is outside of the box with this, and it's not. I don't think we could technically lump it into this because it's not a regimen, but a lot of the scent you leave behind on the ground is actually ground disturbance scent, not your scent, right? So, when you're breaking foliage and you're killing grass, and every step you make, it damages this life, right? And this matter on the ground. Those things emit a scent, and that's a huge red flag to animals like deer who can smell that, right? So, but we'll get into that. That's getting into the weeds. We'll get into that in a different video. But so here's what you have to remember. And if you take anything away from this video at all, remember this: you will not beat a deer's nose. The quicker you accept the fact that you cannot beat a deer's nose and change your perspective into beating him with tactics, the better off you'll be. The sooner you stop putting all the unnecessary time into scent control regimens and buying specific things and doing all this stuff, and instead focus that time into learning better access routes and learning where your scent ends up and what the thermals are doing and how to play the wind, the more deer you will kill and the more consistently you will kill. Put that time into dialing in your woodsmanship, and trust me, you'll thank me for it. All right, guys, we went a little bit over, but that was my take on scent control. I hope you liked this video. We're gonna be doing these every week, different topic. And if you want to see a specific topic on this segment, leave it in the comments below and I will put it on the roster. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for watching the video and supporting the channel. I'm stoked fall's around the corner. We're gonna be doing a lot more of these. So like, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you next week.